Welcome to the Hangout Sessions. I am here with Seb. I am here with Perry, myself, Travis. I am in the building, and we're talking Bellew Haye 2.
What we saying?
What are we saying, Seb?
Thoughts on the fight?
Right, right, do you know what? Go on, Seb. Go on. Tell me what you're saying.
It's gonna be interesting, you know. You know why? 'Cause we've got the whole
Because
topic lingering over it about the injury from David Haye in the first fight. So yeah, Bellew won it, but did he really win it? Kind of thing, of his own skill and accord, like he's going on.
Haye was winning every round up until Haye got his leg bust spontaneously in the middle of the ring. Winning every round.
Not even spectacularly either, because he wasn't boxing very great. He was winning the round because he's just a better fighter, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't spectacular.
Yeah,
but he was still.
Hey, no, I shit you not. Haye won a round with his one leg. I'm not even joking.
He did, yeah. That's mad. He's on the one leg and it was still very dangerous.
Bellew took way too long to get that done. He didn't even get it done in the end. Didn't the towel come in?
Yeah, didn't it Haye fell through the ring, innit?
I feel like that fight was everyone got a bit Jedi mind tricked by what happened, man. Because realistically, Bellew should have been able to take David out of there because he couldn't move, man. He couldn't move. You're fighting a fight with no legs, bro. Like that's a big handicap. That's like going down to 9 men. That's like going down to 9 men against 11 man. Like wrapping that game up.
Because you hadn't even got like the ability to really get that power from your like feet up into your punch. Like there's no base. But he was able to win a round. One thing I will say about that fight is Perry, you mentioned spontaneously. I don't think it was spontaneous. I think he was injured going into the fight, and that's why he was boxing like that. Like, I reckon he was already. Well, can you remember? Like, we were hearing all that like madness going into the fight week about how we had like emergency surgery and how he was injured, and there was doubts going into the fight the first time. But obviously, because he'd said all that, two things made him fight that night. He said, I'll beat you on one leg. Don't need to worry. Like, he said things like that. And he also has a history of pulling out fights anyway. So, like, and there were also, like, the whole thing where people saying he needed the money. So,
yeah. So even from that round one, he was moving a bit. He was moving a bit different.
Yeah, it was weird. He was fighting as if he knew he had limited time to get it done. And he just wanted to blow him out there. He weren't boxing. There was no sweet science. And he was just loading up and it looked sloppy. And Bellew's he's quite elusive, and he moves a little bit quicker than it looks like he does. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I think David Haye did say though he went first fight proper heated and angry, and like they got into the bust up during the face off and that. So he's getting like heated, which could have been linked to why he came out like that. But
yeah,
he said for this next fight, it's coming out of Zen. Take from that what you will.
I feel like it's a very interesting. The second fight, like psychologically, it's quite interesting. It's completely different from the build-up of the first fight. The first fight was a lot of anger between the two, but the second fight, we're seeing Haye looking like he's trying to hold himself back. Like, you know that kid that was in school that like was told by the head teacher he's got one more chance before he's getting thrown out of school. That's what Haye's moving like. Like, have you seen the gloves are off?
Yeah, he's just refusing to like really get mad. There was a point where like Bellew nearly got under his skin, and he catches the fact that Bellew's wound him up, and he realizes and he doesn't rise to it, and he's really trying to not get sucked into the whole psychological like sparring. But what I will say is I feel that Haye really hates Bellew. Like, I could tell he winds him up a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that bodes well for the fight itself because I can see a situation in terms of Haye's side of things. I can see a situation where Haye starts off calm, it turns into a battle, and then Haye will just lose his head and turn into the sort of game plan that we saw from the first fight. And that's not really what he needs. Like for this fight, he's got to just keep his head and box.
Yeah, but we've seen Haye in situations where it's been emotionally charged. Like we've seen him in the Audley Harrison fight. We've seen him in the Derek Chisora fight. Like there was a lot of like bad blood in them fights, and that he pulled through. Like obviously because he's better fighter, but we have also seen a situation where like he's been emotionally charged and he came through it. So I think he's
What
experienced.
happened?
He's experienced enough that he should be able to just come through.
What happens when either of these guys win? If they win in a good fashion, if one of them win in a stoppage or KO, what happens then? Like, are they in the heavyweight mix?
Bellew, I reckon. No, Bellew retires. I think if he wins.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Who does he fight? He's already said he's not fighting Wilder, and he's already said he's not fighting AJ. Parker hasn't got a belt anymore. He would have fought Parker. So who does he fight? I've heard him say he's completed his career. He's completed boxing. This is just the bonus levels. I've heard him that come out his mouth. That's like one of my favorite quotes. Like he's achieved everything he wants to achieve. He's gonna get a massive payday. Like, where does he go? Like, he's not gonna fight at heavyweight. Does he go down and fight Usyk? Why do that? Like,
but I think Usyk's talking about coming up, isn't he? So they could even do that as a catchweight fight, heavyweight, cruiserweight. That's still a big fight either way. The Usyk fight, especially after the.
It's a big fight to us because we're boxing fans. But is it a big fight to the public? Is it even gonna make 20% of that? This, do you know what I mean? Is it worth going through the camp? Is it worth being away from his wife, his kids? Is it worth going through another grueling camp? Like, why? What more does he need to do? He's one of them. To me, Bellew's like one of the biggest. I say this with no disrespect at all. Like, he's one of the biggest overachievers in boxing that this country's ever produced, man. Like, why fight again?
But I think it makes sense because we could be in a situation where Usyk wins the World Boxing Super Series and he could have a few cruiserweight belts. So that's his way to win a few world titles there. For Bellew going forward.
I don't know, man. It just like I'm looking at the risk and the reward, and I just don't see the reward being that big for the amount of risk there is. And like he's already done it. You know what I mean? Like he's been a champion. Like what's the motivation for him to go and get them belts again? He's already had them.
You know what? What's your thoughts on who will actually win the fight? Because on paper, I'm gonna say Haye should be wrapping this fight up quite comfortably, but with Bellew's last win and the Jedi mind tricks that it's created, that it's manifested, I actually think psychologically Bellew has the edge, which is mad to me because he just shouldn't. I don't think he should be anywhere near even in discussion for winning this fight. Like Haye should be able to do. Haye should be able to just deal with Bellew. Like this is what I thought was going to happen in the first fight. But now, because of the outcome of the first fight, I don't even know.
I'm ignoring the first fight. I don't care. I'm ignoring it. Haye will win.
Why did you say that?
Because he was injured going in. Like that's why he won. Like to me, like if Haye's not injured, he wins the fight. That's just how I see it. I know he's been a bit inactive over the last few years. But I just think he's got too much. He's just better. He's just a better fighter. Like he just is. He should. I'm gonna go out and say, well, I'm gonna say a win because I don't think he's injured this time. I've heard nothing. We've not heard.
And how's he gonna win?
By knockout.
How's he gonna win?
By a knockout.
By knockout.
By knockout.
Okay. Seb, what are you saying? What are you telling me?
Actually, the ref will stop it. I'll say that. The ref will. I'll get a TKO.
I reckon Haye points, man. The way Haye, whether it's down to an injury pre-fight, but the way Haye was moving, he wasn't like quick on his feet, man. So I think a lot will hinge on what shape he goes into he walks into the ring in, whether he's a slimmer version of himself compared to the first fight, will be dependent. But I don't think he will knock Bellew out because if he would have, first fight, I think the way the first 5 rounds went, before the injury.
I just can't.
What do you think? What do you think, Perry?
Yeah.
Hey, how like I said, on paper I see it. If I look at it objectively, I'm like, boom, Haye should be able to win this either by stoppage or KO, just based on the fact that he's a better fighter, he's the stronger fighter, he hits harder, he's technically a better fighter, he has more experience at the higher weight. Like, it should be Haye quite comfortably, even though he's a little bit older, but they're both like aging boxers now. It should be Haye, but that psychological factor from Bellew is going to start creeping in on Haye, man. Trust me. The fact that he lost that first fight will start creeping in, and the longer the fight goes, the more Bellew is going to feel like he can get something out of this. But I agree with you. Like, I think Haye will do it.
Do you know what? I'm going to change what I said. If the fight crosses round 6, then it turns into Bellew's fight. Haye's known to gas in the later stages of fights, and Bellew's got a tank on him. So if it goes past round 6, I think we'll see a big momentum shift, and it turns into you have to favourite Bellew from that point. I reckon.
All right.
That's my opinion.
What else is happening that night? There's Lenroy Thomas versus Joe Joyce is that night. Anyone interested in that, really? Like, I'm quite interested in it. I think Joe Joyce is going to
win. Like, not many people fight that kind of level of competition. What is it, his 4th pro fight?
Yeah, it'll be his 4th one. But
yeah, he's got a good amateur background. But...
Yeah, I like that Haye's fast tracked him. It's cool, man. I like that. I want him to, although I don't think he's elite, it's just going to be interesting to see him. Maybe, like, I would have liked to see him fight Chisora. I would like to see him. It'd be interesting to see Joe Joyce against like the Millers and the Povetkins and that level of fighter. It'd be interesting to see him against like the 3rd and 2nd tier of the heavyweights. It'd be interesting, I think. But I reckon we'll get that soon.
Well, whilst we're talking about heavyweights, what are you thinking about? I don't know if you heard about this, Travis. Seb, I think I spoke to you about it. Dylan Whyte's mandatory status being revoked for Deontay Wilder. He was hoping to become the mandatory for the WBC, but he's been ordered to fight against who's he been ordered to fight?
Luis Ortiz. Yeah, so they've made it a second eliminator. So it's not even a final eliminator. So
it sounds like politics, but I don't know what the why. Yeah. I don't know what the motive for it is.
Because Dominic Brazil is getting the Wilder fight, but Dylan Whyte made a good point. He said, if anything, it should be me versus Brazil for the Wilder fight. Like, how's Dominic Brazil just getting the fight, sort of thing?
Yeah, because ain't Dillian got the silver belt anyway. Like, what's the point of that silver belt? Like,
yeah, like a point Dillian made is that he's done everything that the WBC have asked. Like, he's fought heavily within their regulations in terms of who they wanted him to fight to get to that point. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. I can't really see why.
Dylan's one of the few fighters in that division who will literally fight anyone at any time, and I believe him. I feel like if any fighter offered him a fight now, he'd take it, bro. Like, as long as you can guarantee he's gonna get paid, he will take the fight. It's mad. So they need to show more. The belt organizations need to show more loyalty to them sort of fighters, man, so that can be rewarded. That attitude can be rewarded, so that we don't create this culture of like fight dodging, matchmaking, and like, it's just too much, man.
Yeah, I agree. How seeing as we're on Dillian quickly before we finish, like, how good do you think he is? Like, where do you rate him in terms of like a top 10 heavyweight? Like, where would you stick him on that list?
Well, the heavyweight division is not massive, so it sounds worse than it is by saying he's not one of the elite fighters. But I think there's only
I think there's only 2 elite ones.
Yeah, That's
AJ
what I
Wilder.
think as well. Man.
Yeah. So where does Dillian
Yeah.
go in on that 10 list for you guys? Like,
He's at the level below, isn't it? He's at the level with. He's the level.
I think
with...
what Brazil, Ortiz, Miller, Parker.
I think
Yeah, I'll put
Ortiz
him in
would
that
deal.
category.
Ortiz would deal with Wilder with
Whyte.
Dillian, man.
Is
Yeah,
I'm not
he
sure.
should be able to.
who'd win the fight out of Povetkin and Ortiz?
Ortiz will win that.
I think
Ortiz is.
Povetkin. We'll take that one.
Because I think Ortiz, Povetkin, and Parker are like the three that fill out the top 5. And then there's like Miller, Brazil, and Whyte. I definitely think Whyte is in the top 10. Man, I just want these guys to all fight. I want Whyte. I want these guys to all fight each other, man. There's too many zeros on like on.
It's annoying, isn't it?
What?
Yeah, as soon as we start seeing them come together, we'll see a lot of zeros vanish.
There's too many ones and zeros. Like, I'm tired of the ones and zeros. Even the ones are annoying me.
Yeah, man. It's funny you say that because going off topic a little bit, but with regards to Danny Jacobs who fought last night, I heard him say he was just like, "Yo, we need to just be like more people in this division need to be fighting each other." He's like, "We need to find out who the best is. Like, if that means doing a tournament." That's why I think the tournament system that they're doing with like George Groves and the Eubank for super middleweights, I think that's a good idea for all the divisions, man.
So good, man. Love it. And the production.
Yeah, because you're forced into competing, innit? Like, we want to know who the best is. I don't want to have all this dodging and waiting until fighters get old. Like, that's all long, man.
Anyway,
so I feel like more divisions could benefit from that. One last thing I want to touch on. Josh Taylor versus Postol? The guy who fought the guy who got peppered up by Terence Crawford. Was it Postol? I think it's Viktor Postol.
Yeah,
it's a good fight, man. It's a good step up for Taylor. It's a bit of a funny division for like welterweight in the sense that like there's no middle ground in terms of the quality in the division. So once you get to the level he was at, there's a big jump up to the level of his next opponent. So it's going to be a big test for him, and we'll see where he's at.
If he wins this, he's only fought. Taylor's record is only like it's less than 15 fights.
Yeah.
If he wins this, he's already like amongst the biggest fighters in that division. Then it's what? Who else in that division?
Broner
Garcia. Like he's immediately amongst the top fighters in the division. So this is a big fight for him, man. This is the fight that's gonna like get him properly seen on the scene. He's still only known in the boxing circles. He's not really known outside of the boxing circles. He's not got a name yet.
He needs to get that Scottish nation behind him. He's like still quite young as well. Like, that's I want him to get big.
He's good, man. I like him. He's very.
Yeah, the way he dealt with O'Hara and just fended off that power punch. Like, O'Hara's such a like awkward fighter, and he just he taught him a lesson really that day.
He made him look shit.
And he's not shit, you know. He's not shit. Like, he's not the greatest, but he's still learning. But he's not shit. That's the thing. He'll O'Hara will still end up like towards the top of the division soon. Like, he's
that
not
is
just
mad to me.
Eventually, he will. Like, he will end up fighting above like British and like Commonwealth and European. He'll end up being on the world scene.
His last fight against was it Campos was good, man. He's exciting. He's technically on point. He's like flashy. He's very skillful. Like, I don't even know whether or not he's accurate enough that it doesn't really even matter because he's got enough TKOs and KOs to prove that he obviously hits hard enough. And And yeah, man, I'm excited to see where he goes next. Like I'm in his career closely, so that'll be interesting. I want to see how he develops now. I want to see how he develops. Anything else to touch on related?
I think that's it, really. Unless, yeah, nah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
One
Okay,
thing,
okay.
yeah. All right, so that is us at the hang sesh, just going over the boxing coming up this week and just touching up on Josh Taylor. Yeah, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, throw us some more topics if you want us to go over them, and we can do that.
Yeah, yeah.